All right, hello again. This is, I think the best project I can jump to right now is to see if I can make a running jump at rewriting what I'm calling an aligned lexicon. Or maybe I'm just going to talk about what an aligned lexicon is. All right, so there are many ways to think of the world and how we relate to the world, how to model it. I really like, and this is another topic, maybe that's where I'm heading. There is, what's his name? Mr. Vervaeke, John Vervaeke, his 4 types of knowing, which I always miss one or two of them. Perspectival, propositional, participatory, and procedural. Haha, I got them all within a minute. So one thing, what I want to point out is that those are types of knowing, but I would also argue that there are, if I can summon the terms, so there are types or forms of knowing, forms that our knowing takes that are very different. Then you can also formalize or formulate different types of knowing in different forms. Maybe not universally, I'll have to think about that more. But for instance, you can make a propositional version of participatory, perspectival, and procedural, right? Although, in a weird way, procedural turns out to be propositional very often. Although, when you're actually using a skill, of course, that's kind of an unconscious process, and you're not putting it into words. But you can also talk about a perspectival propositional hybrid, which is something like a graph with words or a mind map or something like that. You could even have a painting that has labels on it. But you can also do a perspectival participatory, I think, by having images of things in action, right? Of what it is like to participate in something. But it is a perspective of that. I think that's all correct, unless I'm missing my understanding of those terms. So that's one point I would like to make. That those are all, I just went a completely different direction than I thought I was. Those are all versions of 4 types of knowing. But there is also at least 2 types of analysis. Is analysis the right word I want to use? 2 perspectives on these 4 types of knowing, maybe I'll say, which is what I always call the singular or the holistic, which is also the analytical and the ontological, or at least in some version. These don't fully overlap. They are kind of different formulations from different perspectives. And there is there's a few more. There's complete and accurate is another way of saying it. And then alignment across the board of everything, of all knowing. But what I wanted to say is that there's also, I believe, something like, let me think. The singular is the breaking down, the holistic is the building up towards larger and larger wholes. While the singular is breaking down things into the parts and then breaking the parts of that down into further parts, that kind of thing. So am I getting further with this? What was the third dimension? There was a third dimension. Shoot. It's not emerging for me right now. Do I dare try to look in my notebook? Because it might be on the most recent page. Not on the most recent page. Sorry. 4 P's. Coming to singular, holistic, and viewing. So there's 4 types of knowing. There's how we come to that knowledge, is the way I formulated it here, which is the singular or the holistic. But that's also ways of kind of orienting ourselves towards that knowledge, whether as orienting towards a part or towards a whole. And then viewing. Oh, viewing is my 5 dimensions in my standard concept map, which you can turn it into 6 in a 3-dimensional concept map. But in a 2-dimensional concept map, I just lay it out as 5, which are what was the term I used? The logical and analogical are about essence. 2 ways of looking at essence. So that's 1, essence. Then the practical, which is what I'm doing now, talking and driving. There's the conceptual, which are the things I'm relating to you through propositions. There is the and then it breaks down from there. And there's the human. Practical, conceptual, human, and